All right, good evening, everyone. It is 6:30. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If you could please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, I please have a roll call.
Supervisor Alexavian.
Here.
Trustee Dean Morelli.
Here.
Trustee Kieran Johnson. Here. Trustee Ron Alberico, absent. Trustee Dion Wright.
Here.
Highway Commissioner Jim Louch, absent. Collector Latoya Turner. Here. Assessor Marion Williamson. Here. Attorney Gary Mueller.
Present. Thank you. So first item on the agenda for Road and Bridge Fund is the approval of minutes, which were for the monthly meeting of February 10th, 2026, and also the minutes for the reconvened meeting that took place on February 25th, 2026. I will need a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Dean Morelli. Any questions on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Given that it is the first day of the fiscal year, there are no bills on this agenda, so we'll move on. Are there any citizens wishing to address the board tonight in regards to the Road and Bridge Fund? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to the Highway Commissioner's report. The Commissioner is not present. I wasn't given a report. Madam Clerk, will you give a report?
I was not.
Okay, so we'll move on. I have no other business. Any final questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, if I could entertain a motion to adjourn the Road and Bridge Fund meeting.
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Dean Morelli. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The Road and Bridge Fund meeting is adjourned. We'll move on now to the Lockport Township regular meeting agenda. The first item on the agenda is a presentation and updates on the Fairmont Drainage ARPA project. We do have Kathy and Kate from the Kind Heart Group here. I will fix my settings here so you can share your screen.
Awesome.
Kathy, could you, because you're a panelist, could you try sharing your screen just in case?
Hang on, let me get out of here. I went to the wrong place, let me see. Hang on. Here we are. Send request, I sent a request to you to share the screen.
Perfect, we got it, alright. Because you had an update, so it's been, these settings are new. Okay. Are you?
Yeah, I'm able to do it.
Okay, perfect.
No, did I share me?
Yes,
I don't know what
we see your screen, but it's currently the Zoom, your browser is open to the Zoom.
But did it come, can you see it now?
Yes.
Awesome. Put this over here, and put this back. All right. Hi, everyone, thank you. We love getting our updates, and so, a lot's happening. Things are moving right according to schedule, which is great news. And so, the update will start with progress made to date, and then what's going to happen over the next few weeks. Kate will start.
Okay, well, we have first, what happened in February of this year was that plans are at 65% completion, and with more restoration and right-of-way work that's needed. Quality assurance and quality control, John Mayer, the QA/QC officer, and engineers are completing all QA/QC for final plans and specifications. ERE field staff is to walk the site area to identify any conflicts. that may impact plans as they are drafted, and that'll happen this month. Plans and specifications will be adjusted for any items found during field review of the project area. And what residents may see are soil boring contractors in the project area collecting samples starting the week of March 2nd. You're muted.
The project timeline, permitting, so following the completion of the QA/QC, plans will be submitted to the city of Joliet for permit review. To date, that's the only permits that we're going to need to implement the project. There will be modeling reports for flow that will be submitted with the city, so they know exactly, they'll have quantification of total amount of stormwater entering into their system and verifying that it's going to be, as we stated in our January meeting, the same amount that they have coming in now, which is allowing us to proceed at this quick rate and permitting to get reviewed and issued. After all the soil bore tests results are submitted and plan approval received from the city of Joliet, final plans and specs will be completed in March. All required permit applications approved and final documents assembled for bid release and contractor selection in April. And to date, the engineer's estimate for construction is at $4.2 million. Typically engineers run high, but we are, but with that cushion embedded into their estimate, we are right on track to utilize all our ARPA funding. And that's what we have.
Thank you. Questions, thoughts from the board? No. All right, well, Kathy and Kate, we have no questions at this time. I appreciate you two giving us an update, and we will chat soon.
All right, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on now to the approval of minutes. We have two sets of minutes that I will address separately. So for the first set of minutes, they are for the monthly meeting of February 10th, 2026, as well as for the reconvened meeting on February 25th, 2026, and this is for Town Senior GA. If I can entertain a motion in a second to approve these minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Dean Morelli. Any questions on the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on now to the next set of minutes, and that's for the release of executive session minutes that took place on August 9th, 2025. Does anyone have any questions on this set of minutes? Hearing none, if I could entertain a motion and a second to approve the release of the executive session minutes for August 29th, 2025.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Dean Morelli. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining?
Oh, I'm abstaining, I apologize.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Motion.
No
I am
chance for that.
struggling breathing over here.
All right.
Motion carries.
Good.
Release of executive session minutes.
At least you did motion for it, right?
Moving on to the approval of bills. I have, again, first day of the fiscal year, no bills for senior fund or GA fund, but I do have bills in the town fund in the amount of $34,203.09. If I could entertain a motion in a second to approve of the town fund bills.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Dean Morelli. Any questions on the bills? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, if I could please have a roll call.
Sapien?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
Moving on, do we have any comments from the public today in regards to the township regular meeting? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to reports. The first report is the clerk's report. Madam Clerk, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Supervisor. Clerk's office has been very busy in the past month. Early voting began today. We had 84 voters. FOIA requests have been weekly. The clerk's office has had over 86 notary services and over 35 baby diaper distributions. In 11 days, we've sold 32 driver's license stickers. My staff and I have also been working on the plans for Community Fund Day. I will be filing the budgets with the Will County Clerk. The annual town meeting is April 14th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. at the Lockport Township building. There were no agenda items received for the annual town meeting. In your packet is the annual town agenda for approval. Once approved, I will post the agenda in 3 public places and publish it in the Joliet Herald News 15 days prior. Board members, you should have received your email by now. This is a reminder to file your statement of economic interest by May 1st of 2026. And that is all.
Thank you. Any questions for the clerk? All right, well, we do have to approve the annual town meeting agenda, so if I can entertain a motion for that approval.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Karen Johnston,
I'll second.
second by Dean Morelli. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on now to the assessor's report. Assessor Williams.
Thank you. My report is pretty brief. The newsletter, the spring newsletter that's coming out, my page focused on only exemptions this time. So the next newsletter, the summer newsletter, when it comes out, I'm going to focus on assessment reviews, pre-reviews that we do in my office, and also the Board of Review appeal process that starts in mid-August. So that next newsletter will have all the information about the Board of Review, your assessed value, how to appeal. Exemption forms, the annual renewal for exemption forms, senior assessment freeze, veterans with disability, people with disabilities, those exemption forms will be mailed by the Will County Supervisor of Assessments. The tentative date right now is April 10th. Once you receive those forms, you can bring them into the office and we'll fill them out for you, help you fill them out. The senior assessment freeze has always had an income limit attached to it. Was $65,000. Excuse me. This year, for the 2026 property taxes, which will be paid in 2027, the income limit is going up to $75,000, and that would be your 2025 income. So this is for people over 65. So the 2025 income would have to be under $75,000. That includes household income, so everybody who lives in the house, and if you're collecting Social Security, it's the total amount of Social Security, not just the taxable portion. So that's a pretty significant increase in that income limit. And then that also, over the next few years, it's kind of a graded system where it'll be increasing a small amount each of the next few years is what they're looking at right now. So those forms will come out in mid-April. And then we've been notified by the Will County Supervisor of Assessments that we're anticipating a proposed factor around 9%. And so what that means is across the township, we've seen a general increase of about 9% in the sales of, overall sales of homes. So I'm doing my sales ratio studies now, so I break it down by neighborhood. I don't think all of the neighborhoods are gonna need that. But at this point, I'm not sure, because they're not all completed yet. So we'll be finishing those, looking at those, and then any reassessments that I do at the township level, if I change your assessed value, you get a notice of revised assessment from the County Supervisor of Assessments. If I don't make a change, you don't get a notice, and then it would just be a matter of what our final factor is that you would see as an increase. So those notices that are mailed will be, any notices mailed will be mailed, mid-August is usually when they mail them, and then the appeal process is after that. So that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Any questions for the assessor? Thank you. Hearing none, we'll move on. Now to the building report. I have two things. One, for the parking lot expansion, I actually don't really have any updates. So I did speak with the engineering firm, again, the Will Group. They're at about 90% completion of the bidding packet. We're still waiting for a meeting to be arranged between their group, our office, and the city of Lockport's office. Once I hear of any dates, I'll let the board know, but as of now, there haven't been any major changes from February's update. A second update I wanted to give, and it's not on the agenda, but I think it's still very important, is I want to remind the board briefly that around, I want to say sometime around this time of year last year, we did have the Township office submit an application or request to Congresswoman Underwood's office, as she was submitting some suggestions, recommendations for the federal budget. And so that request was to convert the Lockport Township building into an emergency shelter, given that we already have 90% of the requirements, and that would potentially bring some funding for major renovations and changes. So I am very excited to say that I did receive a call personally from the Congresswoman in early February, and I actually had a meeting with their staff just earlier today, an hour right before this meeting, that our grant request was approved. And in fact, it's the largest in her entire congressional district. Even after all of these changes and budget changes at the federal level, we were approved for just slightly below $2 million. Their office is will be working with our office on a press release, but there is much more to come. So, but I did want to just share the good news report. We'll move on now. So for mental health, usually we receive the invoice for the previous month on the 5th. It is still the first business day of March, so I haven't received it, but once I do, I will share it with the board. But I did just want to remind the board that in February, before our recess meeting, and it was in the recess meeting bills, that now that ThriveWorks, they have everything correct on their financial side, we matched our documents. I did transfer over the $60,000 in funds that were approved in the amended budget. And so that was enough to cover our past debts, and is also enough for about another month. And then of course, with this new budget, we have a separate set of funds. Now we'll move on to the senior bus report. So at the time of the packet, I didn't have the senior bus report, given that the month of February wasn't over. But I did create a report and leave a copy for everyone on the table in front of them. So on the report, for the month of February, even though it was a short month with 18 business days, we had totaled 464 trips, which averaged out to 25.8 rides per day, which is the exact amount that we had in January. So currently for 2026 year to date, our total trips are 955. That averages out to 478 trips per month. Our sample size is still relatively small, so you'll notice in rides over time, we're at a little bit under compared to the 2025 average, but I know that number will go up in the next couple months. Any questions on the senior budget report? We will move on then to reports for general and emergency assistance. So the first report is the system activity report. So again, February was a short month, but we did have 10 applications to general assistance. Of those, 3 of them were currently in process at that moment, 7 of them were not eligible. But then going through the process, so emergency assistance, we had then 5 folks that wanted to be considered for emergency assistance. 3 of them were approved for a grant, and then 2 of them at the time of this report were in process. But the grants total, or the help was $2,678.92. And you'll see on the next page in grant disbursements, all of those 5 are labeled out and the amount matches exactly. And the reason why this wasn't on the bills list is because these took place in February, they were approved on the February 25th recess meeting. Any questions on the GAD reports? So hearing none, we'll move on now to new business. So as was alluded to earlier, we have a newsletter update, and that is that the spring newsletter, we approved that around middle of February, and I'm happy to report that that newsletter has started to arrive in mailboxes. I know I received mine on Friday, and I live in Romeoville. I've heard of a few friends that have received theirs in Lockport, and that is just in time for early voting. So those that haven't received it hopefully should receive it very, very soon. Not yet?
No?
Nope, I got off early today at 3 o'clock and I passed the mailman, checked my mailbox.
Okay, good to know. I know our staff that was in Crest Hill that has not gotten it before, got it, which was a nice surprise.
Yes, I heard that.
Which was a nice little surprise, and myself and my friends at Romeoville did, so it sounds like Lockport might be slightly behind, unfortunately. But thankfully, the summer newsletter, that isn't released until middle or late June, so we do have some time before planning on that one. Now for update on scholarships. So I had asked the board if they had any time to review the scholarships that were given at last month's meeting. So if you have them tonight, if you could please hand them to me. If you do need an extra day or so, just let me know and we can collect them later this week. But otherwise, we intend to tally up the results later this month, share the results with the school in a couple of weeks, and then the schools, at their discretion, announce the winners, typically at a ceremony that they host in either April or May. And then we invite the award recipients to come to our June 9th board meeting, where we then formally award them. So, any questions on that? So other updates, I don't have any updates on the food pantry. I know we're still working on getting their documents, but yeah, that, once I hear more, I'll let the board know. Let's move on now to motions and approvals. The first item up for approval is Resolution 2026-2. This is a resolution to transfer funds from the town fund to the capital expenditures fund within the Lockport Township budget. I do want to give some context. If the board recalls, in December of 2025, we passed a similar resolution, specifically 2025-5. And so what that did is that created the capital expenditures fund for the township. Meaning that starting next month in April, we will now have a 4th fund. So just like we have Town Senior GA, there will then be Town Senior GA and then Capital Fund. So the Capital Fund was created through Resolution 2025-5, and it was included in this new fiscal year's budget. And that's upon the acceptance of the public hearing. Now the fund exists, and it has budget and line items and goals in mind, but now it is empty. There are no funds. So what this resolution does, and I'm grateful for the attorney for completing this, especially on short notice. What this resolution does is it allows us to fund the capital fund up to $6 million. And it allows us to fund the capital fund in phased approaches. So for this month, we can transfer up to $2.5 million. I do know we're working with the bank to find an exact amount. It will definitely be a minimum of 1.5 million, between 1.5 and 2.5 million. And the nice thing about the capital fund is we will be assigning these funds for future projects, which includes the Fairmont ARPA drainage project. The reason we don't want to transfer the full 6 million, and this is a recommendation from our accountants, is we want to make sure we have money in town savings to pay town bills. Especially because the property tax revenue we receive for the township also comes in phases, and that first payment doesn't come until June. So eventually we'll transfer an amount up to 6 million, but at this time we will only be transferring up to 2.5. And the nice thing about the capital expenditures fund is if in the future our goals or our assigned topics in the capital fund change, we can transfer, through another resolution, through approval, we can transfer some of those funds back to the town. But I think the recommendation is just to transfer slowly, and so we have a controlled flow. Any questions on this resolution? All right, so hearing none, if I can entertain a motion to approve resolution 2026-2.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Dee Morelli. Madam Clerk, can I please have a roll call?
Wright,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Sapien.
Yes. So then a quick heads up, we'll coordinate with the bank to find the exact amount, but because it is a transfer from one budget to another and there are line items, it will be in the bill list in the April meeting. So if you do see the bills and the amounts in the millions of dollars, you know why.
Okay, good.
But there's no expenditures, it's simply a transfer.
Okay.
I would like to emphasize though that I am very much hiding my excitement. This is a very, very good project and milestone for the township. I would like to thank trustee Karen Johnson for helping along with that process. And then he's not here, but I did want to thank trustee Ronald Rico, because I know in previous years, he did have the board approve ordinances that set the stage for this capital fund, like setting aside money for the parking lot and potentially acquisition of property. So I did want to acknowledge that as well.
Hey, one question, so why are you consulting with the bank on whether to transfer 1.5 or 2.5?
So it depends, it has to do with our interest rate. Depending on how much we transfer, it's going to alter our interest rate, and so I want to make sure we're maximizing on that. And then also, depending on how much we transfer, it's going to take a certain amount of time. Like specifically, ACH transfer of, several 500,000, several million, etc. Yeah, and also again, we want to coordinate, make sure we have enough in savings in town, etc. But one of the reasons why we have a higher than usual interest rate in the town fund is because we have an agreement with the bank of how much to keep in there, so we want to make sure we're still capitalizing on that.
Okay.
But at the bare minimum, it will be 1.5. So move on now to the next item, which is the support for the city of Crest Hill, specifically an Easter egg hunt that they have coming up. The date for that is Saturday, March 28th, and that's from 12 to 2 p.m. I did include a report in everyone's, I left it on the table in front of everyone, but I'm including it up here as well. But so for the city of Crest Hill, they recently started hosting events. So last year in December, they hosted a winter event where we were, the main presenting supporter. So this time, they do have that event coming up in December, but this time they're now having their first ever Easter egg hunt, and that will again take place later this month. And so, I want to remind the board that currently in this new budget, we do have a budget amount of $9,000 for each of the 3 municipalities. And so with Crest Hill, and I spoke with them to see if they have a recommendation, that if we did this at the maximum amount for $2,500, we did the winter one, which is $5,000, and then we did our shred event that we have every year, we're still under slightly the $9,000 budgeted amount. So my recommendation is for the presenting support, but I'm going to open it up for discussion for the board. I'll take the silence as consensus. If I could entertain a motion to support the city of Crest Hill on their Easter egg hunt for the presenting sponsorship of $2,500.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Dee Morelli. Madam Clerk, could I please have a roll call?
Morelli,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Sapien,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. I want to make a quick note that part of the support here is the opportunity for one of us to speak during the event. I can speak there, however, I acknowledge that, I didn't fully grow up in Crest Hill, so if there's another member here that would be interested in that speaking part, that's about 5 minutes, please let me know. If no one's interested, I will be attending the event either way.
I'll be interested.
Okay, we'll chat soon. Alright, so now we'll look at the events for the Village of Romeoville. So I listed these events on the agenda, but I included copies of the event flyers in the packet. Now, these are the same events we did last year. A note that the total is $8,650. The amounts did increase a little bit this year, but the actual support amounts or the support tiers are the same. There's Romeo Fest, the Hispanic Heritage Celebration, Trunk or Treat, and Winter Wonderland. I was able to attend them before. They had amazing turnout, and so I recommend just the same amount this year, and again, we're still under the $9,000 budget. Any questions or thoughts from the board? Hearing none, if I could entertain a motion to support the Village of Romeoville with the events and amounts listed on the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
seconded by Dean Morelli. Madam Clerk, can I please have a roll call?
Sapien,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. Move on now to old business and past events. So for old business, the Park District did host their Black History Month celebration on February 21st. I was there in attendance, trustee John Wright was there in attendance. I think it was a wonderful event,
Very
great
much
turnout,
was, right.
great entertainment. The residents were very happy to see everyone there. So, great event overall. Upcoming meetings and events. So I do have 2 in April, but I have one that I did not include in the agenda, but I meant to, and I'm gonna send the board an email tomorrow inviting them. So, as we heard the update from the Concord group earlier in the meeting, but we have made substantial progress on the drainage project. If the board may recall, when the Army Corps first started their study last year, we held public forums or public meetings in June and then in August, where we invited the public to come in and hear an update from the Army Corps of Engineers and provide their feedback. So now, again, there's been substantial progress, and we're looking to go out to bid in early April, which means it is recommended that we then host another public meeting and invite the Fairmont and all the residents, so they can hear and see all of the progress, learn, these updates, of course, learn about the timeline, know about the impacts this will have in the community, both in the long term, but also short-term construction. And so that will be it'll be hosted by us here at the Township building. It'll be led by the engineering firm ERA, and so that will be on Thursday, March 26th at 5 p.m. So again, I'm extending the invitation to the board. I will also be sending an email to community leaders and other public officials whose districts overlap with Fairmont. Any questions on that? So then I'll move on. TOI, their annual lobby day is on April 15th, and that is in Springfield, of course. Currently, we have registered myself, our collector, LaToya Turner, and also Highway Commissioner Jim Lausch. There is still time to register, so if you're interested, please reach out as soon as possible.
What was that, date again?
April 15th. That is a Wednesday, I believe. The next item, another upcoming event is the Lockport State of the City Address. That is on April 21st from 11:30 to 1:30. Quick correction on the location. It is held on Rancho Los Guzman. That is at 2225 Maple Road in Joliet. That is just a few minutes down the street from the Township. It is at the same location as last year. I did want to give an update to the board, given that we approved up to $1,000 for this event at the February meeting. But it seems that everyone was able to register except for one person, so that was 9 tickets. And we did have a very good discussion and negotiation with the Lockport Chamber of Commerce. So we should be expecting a very, very good position in the parade. But in all seriousness, we did decide to go with the sponsorship. We do have an extra seat I was thinking of inviting Representative Avalar to be our guest, given that in the past she hasn't been invited. But if, she hasn't confirmed yet, but if anyone else here feels they might have someone that's relevant to the township and would like an extra seat, please let me know, we have an open spot.
Does the VA person ever go?
Tony,
Yeah.
I could let him know. It's worth reaching
Yeah,
out.
well, let him outside, we could do a field trip.
That's a good idea. Thank you. All right, other than that, I have no other meetings or events. Any final questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing none, if I could entertain a motion and a second to adjourn the Lockport Township regular meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Karen Johnson,
Second.
second by Dee Morelli. All those in favor? Opposed? Township meeting is adjourned. Thank you.